is Jessie, and I do perfume reviews in ASMR format. So if you like perfume and also if you like ASMR, you are in a good place for our video today. Today I'm doing another collection video, so I'm going to be showing you some of my favorite notes in perfumery, and I have a bottle of my perfume to accompany each note, and I'll just, we'll talk about why I like the note and how the note shows up in the particular perfume that I'm showing you as an example. So I think I have like 10 different notes to go over. So I guess I have quite a few notes in perfumery that I really do like. Stay tuned because I'm also going to be doing a video on notes that I do not like or don't tend to like in perfumery, but give you some examples of how, like a counterexample, like I don't love this note, but I actually do kind of like it in this perfume. So I thought that would be a fun follow-up video. Okay, so starting off, I'm going to start off first with floral. I just have three floral notes that I wanted to highlight that I really like. So first one is the note of rose. So I really like the note of rose. I did a video of my videos of my rose fragrances, one from a year ago and one just recently. But anyway, this fragrance is called Chloé Eau de Toilette 2015 version. And this is a fragrance in my collection that is pretty dominant in rose. It's more, I would say, of a fresh, kind of citrusy, dewy, modern rose. Sometimes rose can come through as kind of old-fashioned, but this one is like pretty modern, fresh, innocent, like just very pretty. I would say very feminine, fresh, pretty. So yeah, rose is a note that I don't know, I really love it. I think it's very beautiful. I love it often when it's paired with something fresh or citrusy, but I think I also like it if it's toned down a bit, maybe paired with something like patchouli or certainly a musk. So yeah, so that is the first note to show you, and then I thought I'd follow it up with a pretty similar note. This next one that I want to talk about is the note of peony. So peonies are typically, I don't know if they're always pink, but they're typically pink flowers, and they smell a little bit like rose, but I would say what peonies really have going on is like a very fresh, almost aquatic type smell. So think of it as almost like a fresh aquatic type rosy smell. I guess that's what I would say. And the fragrance that I wanted to show you that features peony is Eternity Moment by Calvin Klein. So this fragrance is a flanker in the Eternity line, which that line has been around forever and has done very well. This one came out in 2004, so it's pretty old, but it does not smell, it still smells very modern and very pretty. So this fragrance is just very fresh, pretty, fruity. It's like a, what am I trying to say? Floral, fresh, fruity, kind of aquatic vibe. Great way to get a sense of what peony smells like. And then the fruits in this, I think, are like, yeah, kind of watery fruits like lychee, melon, guava. So fun, girly, fresh peony. So that is Eternity Moment by Calvin Klein. To old-fashioned vibe. So this is the perfume I wanted to show you for Iris. This is called Musc Eternel by Mizensir, the brand Mizensir. Super beautiful bottle. So in this fragrance, the iris comes through as very powdery. There's a bunch of other notes, or quite a few other notes in here. In here, I would say the iris comes through as very powdery, almost like a makeup powder buff. This is not a safe blind buy. I don't think everybody would like this. It smells kind of baby powdery, sweet vanilla. But yeah, the iris obviously lends like a very powdery type feel to this fragrance. So yeah, I think I really like iris, and it's, you know, a lot of floral notes are more like heady and just like what you'd think of with a bouquet of flowers, whereas iris tends to be more grounded and not sharp at all, like much softer and muted. So anyway, that's iris. Okay, next note that I tend to like, not always, but sometimes I really, really like it, is almond. So almond, similar to iris, can kind of add like a powdery sweetness. Obviously almonds are a nut, so they add a bit of depth, you know. So there's quite a few fragrances that have almond. I feel like it's the most common nut note that you see. Certainly that I see. Like I see almond. Sometimes I see like pistachio, but yeah, definitely the most common one that I see. And yeah, so the fragrance I wanted to show you is by Issey Miyake, and it's called A Drop de Issey. Fun round bottle, and this one I really like. So this one has a note of, I think it's almond milk actually, and then this also has lilac and some other interesting notes. It's kind of like a happy, sunny, slightly creamy lilac. I feel like you just need to smell it, but I really like this one. It's like lilac can come off as a very like old-fashioned type of floral note, and I feel like this is kind of like a modern take on it. Okay, so there's that for almond, and then next note that I really enjoy a lot is the note of oak moss. So oak moss is a moss that grows on trees. We have it all over. I'm in the Pacific Northwest, so I see oak moss everywhere. I've actually foraged oak moss before. I believe the like technical name is usnea, or I don't know, maybe there's different types of oak moss, but I've foraged it before. You can actually use it, I think, in like herbal preparations, but you have to be careful. It might have some toxicity or something. Anyway, the fragrance that I wanted to show you that has oak moss in it that I have, this is called Air de Gioia by Giorgio Armani, and I do think this is discontinued, but I love this fragrance so much. It's like a very light, gentle, airy version of oak moss. The oak moss definitely comes through prominently, but this fragrance is very light. It's somewhat fresh. It's called Air de Gioia, and it really does feel like a breath of fresh air. So it's kind of like a coastal breeze carrying a little bit of floral notes, touch of saltiness, touch of woodiness. The oak moss makes it very natural, grounded, earthy smelling. So yeah, I love the note of oak moss because it just smells very natural. It smells like if you were outside, perhaps in the woods, or just those kind of natural smells, you know. And I think that coming through in a fragrance that can smell really nice, especially if it's combined with some other notes that kind of give some So that is Oakmoss in Air de Gioia by Giorgio Armani. Okay, and then next fragrance next note that I wanted to talk about that I really like is Patchouli. Kind of for a lot of the same reasons that I like Oakmoss. If you can't tell, I tried to kind of like lump these together like florals, and then now we're into like more grounded notes. So Patchouli, I would say, is another very grounded note. It's natural smelling. Sometimes it can honestly smell like almost like dirt or earth, literal dirt or earth. But sometimes it comes through smelling more refined and cleaner. So a lot of these Chanel fragrances have have patchouli in them, and I really like the way that Chanel does patchouli. It does come through as less dirty and a little more refined. So this is Coco Mademoiselle by Chanel, and to me this fragrance does patchouli really beautifully. Yeah, it's got the patchouli, it's got orange, and I think some other citrusy top notes, and it's got rose. So to me, this is just such a beautiful blend of citrus floral and patchouli, and just comes through so nice. So yeah, I really enjoy patchouli. I feel like it's a very sexy, natural type smell. I mean, I don't know if you've ever smelled straight up patchouli, like the essential oil, but that can obviously be a bit much for people. But I think patchouli in a lot of fragrances just adds like a sexy vibe. Okay, and then next note that I wanted to touch on, we are veering off into a whole new category. I guess this would be the fruity category. I like citrus in general, but to make it more specific, I would say I especially like the orange, tangerine, clementine type note. So yeah, those orange type citruses. So this fragrance is called Fenty, and it's by Rihanna, and this has a note of tangerine. I really like pretty much whenever I smell tangerine in fragrances. So yeah, I find orange, tangerine, clementine, those type of notes to just be fresh, very fresh, and a little bit astringent, but also they have a nice amount of sweetness to counter as well. I also like notes like lemon and bergamot, and even lime to some degree, but lime a little less so, I would say. But lemon and bergamot tend to be just a little bit more astringent and tart, and a little bit less sweet. So I like those too, but I really like that orange is like a nice mix of sweet and sour. Side note, these two I feel like showcase both the orange type note and also patchouli, because yeah, this has tangerine and also patchouli. This has patchouli and orange, and I think like a couple other citrusy type notes. So the patchouli in Fenty is much more earthy, dirty to my nose. It smells fairly different than the one in Chanel, but I really like it. Almost smells like a dirty chocolate. And the tangerine in this fragrance comes through as like very bright and honestly more so tart than sweet, I would say. But yeah, I really like this one. Okay, and then I have one more fruity note to mention that I really like. It's kind of similar to what I was saying, but I really like the note of green apple in fragrances, because I just find it to come through as very fresh, a little bit tart, very invigorating. So I don't tend to often go for super fruity fragrances. Like, I do like some fruit notes, but sometimes if it's like super fruity, like cherry or strawberry, it can just come through a little too sweet, too fruit punchy kind of thing for me. So green professional smell because it's not very sweet. It's not like what you think of as necessarily sexy. It's just very clean, modern, professional. I feel like modern is kind of a good way to put it. But yeah, so this has that green apple note, and it does come through a little bit like tart, and I like that. So the next fragrance also has green apple, but I selected it because I wanted to talk about the note of musk, which is a huge favorite note of mine. I mean, I feel like a lot of people probably really enjoy the note of musk, and they might not even realize it. So a musk often just lends that kind of soft, sexy undertone to fragrances. And gosh, I don't even know. I feel like I should like pull up a Google page to talk about musk, because I don't even really know what to say, but it's kind of like just like a molecular sexiness. Often traditionally musks came from like animal glands and stuff, but now I think most musks are synthetic or plant derived, but they're just this kind of subtle molecular smell that adds a lot sometimes on their own. I think people don't enjoy the smell on their own sometimes, but when they're paired with other notes, they just add like a kind of softness, like almost a little bit of powderiness. So the fragrance that I wanted to show you that has a good dose of musk that I really enjoy, this is Dolce&Gabbana Light Blue Eau Intense, the women's version. And I find that the intense version has quite a bit more musk. Oh, it's just really nice. It kind of reminds me in this formulation of like a crisp, freshly laundered shirt. So this also has a green apple note and lemon, so it's like a very fresh but musky, kind of clean. I feel like the musk grounds it and makes it a little softer, and then the green apple and citrus is like bright and fresh and clean. So I really, really like this one. And yeah, there's so many fragrances that I have that have musk in them. I mean, even a lot of these ones here I would say are on the muskier side. So yeah, I feel like I just really like that note. Okay, next fragrance, this I would say is also somewhat of a musky fragrance. This is by the brand MAC, and it's called Turquatic. And oh yeah, the note that I'm talking about for this one is a little different. It is aquatic notes. So aquatic notes are synthetic, like there's no natural aquatic note in nature, but basically aquatic notes, just when they're in perfume, they just give a watery, aquatic type smell. Could be like reminiscent of rain, perhaps a little bit more of like ocean, but typically more of like a freshwater type feel. So this one has watery notes, and it's just got a bunch of other notes that are kind of fresh and watery as well, like lotus, lemon. It's got orris root, which is iris, so it's kind of powdery, musky. But yeah, this fragrance, Turquatic, obviously it's supposed to smell kind of watery. It's called like Turquatic, like aquatic, and it really does. It just has like a fresh, watery feel, but it's not too sharp. Like it's fairly soft. So I really like this one. is funny. I really think it should just list salt. It does have a note of ambergris, which is the only note that I think is giving that salty vibe. And ambergris is, if it's not synthetic, is actually from whales. It's like from whale excretion, like whale poop, basically. So obviously it can have like a saltiness, especially because it's from the ocean. But anyway, this obviously deserves a salt note. It's very salty. You will see if you smell it. It has like kind of an almost electrically charged, salty, sparkly type feel. And it's got some, it's kind of like ambery as well. It's got some floral notes. I don't know, it's like a beachy marine vibe, a little bit tropical, but not really in your typical like sunscreen way. But yeah, I really like salt in fragrances. A lot of the fragrances that I have with salt do lean more like marine beachy, but I have a few fragrances with salt that are not that necessarily, and just the salt can kind of bring out other nice, like salt is a flavor enhancer in cooking, and honestly if you don't salt your food it just doesn't taste as good, like for the most part. And so I feel like oftentimes salt is like a fragrance enhancer, and a little bit of salt I feel like just makes everything a little bit better and a little bit, I don't know, a little bit more. A lot of salt obviously then can become a little bit salty and a little bit too, you know, charged up, but a little bit of salt I think is nice. This one is definitely more of a lot of salt, so it's not for everybody. What is one? Like this one has a little bit of salt, Air de Gioia, so it's a little bit less salty, but you still get the salt. And then there's some fragrances like, oh, and they just have a touch of salt that are really nice. So, okay everybody, so that is my video talking about notes that I enjoy. There's some other ones that I thought about putting in this video, but I didn't want to make this like super long, so I just kept it at like 10 notes. So let me know your thoughts, notes that you enjoy, notes that you don't enjoy, and stay tuned. Like I said, I'm gonna soon be posting a notes that I don't tend to enjoy, but with examples of fragrances